So recently there's been a controversy going on between the Knuckles Up event. Then after that, Tsvetan Gashweski got personally involved. He named Engin Terzi. Asen, who is the president of WAF, Engin has also responded to that. So everyone is kind of dragged into this situation, this WAF versus everyone else controversy. And there are many famous names who are on WAF side, like Devon Larrett, Engin Terzi himself. And if you want to ask me, I am personally also on that side, because just because of one reason, that they are the ones that have been doing most of the work. The IFA side or any other side has not been doing as much work as WAF or Engin Terzi. So since we have set things straight here, let's discuss what the exact controversy is. And before that, an interesting comment already. I have an injury. No, the other one. People who do things together in the same belief will never be enemies. So there is one who is a villain. Well, in that case, you can paint the person with more power as the villain, because the person with the less power will always be presented to us as kind of a bechara, as we call it in Hindi. I don't know the exact innocent, yeah. So is there a beef between arm wrestling elites? I guess so. We'll discuss. We'll see how big of a beef that really is. I just hope that the audio and video is okay as of now and it stays that way. So I've taken some screenshots from the post that Engin has responded to Tsvetan Gashweski's post. I think it's about time we start sharing the results. And before we discuss that, Knuckles Up, I'm not happy with your interface. I know I'm the news guy, I should have everything written down, but just for reference, just for screen sharing purposes, I was trying to find all of the Knuckles Up 4 matches at one place. So I went to the Instagram hoping that the poster that gives us the detail of all of the matches will be pinned at top. Nope, the random match posters are everywhere on your Instagram. Then I went to the High Five website to check the matches, and there is no place where all of the matches are even mentioned. Not unless you, maybe when you actually purchase the pay-per-view, when you're making the payment, maybe they'll show you something what are the matches. But how can you ask someone to purchase a pay-per-view without even clearly showing who the matches are? The best that you have done is this massive poster where everyone is involved. So one side is on the left side, one side is on the right side. Now you figure out yourself who is who and who is going to face who. I did not like that interface. I wish sometimes that YouTube gave us an option to pin a community post, because sometimes I'm searching for East versus West all matches hoping that it will be at top, but it isn't, because YouTube doesn't give us option to pin the community post. They should do that, but Instagram clearly does that, so there should be that. It's showing me that the video is kind of buffering. Is it the case? Is my video bad? I think it's a tendon or ligament. Same happened to me 1 year ago. MRI. Okay, I also popped something here in the elbow about 3 years ago, and I still haven't recovered even now, and I don't even do anything. So complete rest is still not recovered. Is there a beef between arm wrestling elites? We are going to discuss that beef right now. So it shows stream is health is good, but I'm not receiving some comments. What's up? 50 people watching, but the comments list is not updating. Did RVJ win? Yes, he won 3-2 in a very close match. Can somebody give me some hint if the audio and video is okay? Then we'll proceed with the screen sharing. So, yep, you can see the screen now, I guess. So these are the posts that we are going to read. So first of all, this post is from Tsvetan Gashweski. If you don't know, he's a legendary Bulgarian arm wrestler. Earlier, back in the day, he used to be able to do everything. Right now, he's mostly an open arm top roller, and probably even better in his 50s than what he was maybe even 15 years ago. That's just my assumption though. Hello to all arm wrestlers around the world. Lately, I've been reading many posts about statement, okay, WAF, IFA. In my opinion, all of us who love arm wrestling want the same thing: the opportunity to compete freely, to foster friendships, to grow the community, and and to one day see arm wrestling in the Olympics. When I began my career in this sport 34 years ago, I believed this could happen, but unfortunately, it has remained just a dream. So, obviously, talking about Olympics, maybe, or maybe all of the things that he just mentioned. But some of those may have happened now. Do we have fostered friendships in arm wrestling? I think we do. Opportunity to compete freely. We used to have that kind of, but not so much right now. But still, despite having the restrictions, the opportunities are way more than what they were about 4 years ago, before this East versus West, King of the Table, and other super match organization thing started. We have heard the same promises repeated over and over, while actions have gone in a completely different direction, okay? At this moment, WAF feels like a dictatorship under its president Arsen Hajitorov. He personally decides who is allowed and what in this sport, which is why the bans make no sense. They cannot make sense when athletes are banned over financial, personal, or even fabricated issues with others. For example, the Georgian Federation was banned for 2 years due to financial issues for which the athletes were not at fault. So the 2022, I think it was, WAF World Championships were supposed to be in Georgia, but due to some financial reasons or whatever, they said a couple of months in advance that we could not organize the event. Sorry. And what WAF did is they banned the entire Georgian team. So that's what Tsvetan is saying here. Was it the athletes' fault? Why were they banned? But can the athletes really travel in an event without the organization if the entire organization is banned? Yeah, maybe something like what's going on with the Russians. They can compete, but under a neutral name. They cannot use their country's name. Maybe something that could have done even in that case. Anyways, let's get back to sharing our screen. Now the biggest event, East versus West, allows Russians to participate even though they were banned from competing globally. So Engin has answered to that, and we'll read that as well. But Engin's answer was Russians can only compete if they do not use their country name. While at the same time, athletes who competed in IFA are not allowed. Why? Because and why? Okay, that's the question. And in the next moment, IFA European champion Kasper Sinica will pull against WAF athlete Netherlands Ristov at King of the Table, this upcoming event. Engin has answered that as well. The reality is that there are no consistent rules, just personal decisions. I qualified for King of the Table and defeated the reigning WAF world champion Bojidar. According to the rules, I should have competed at King of the Table, but after a long period of back and forth, Don wrote to me, sorry, WAF does not allow you to pull. But this wasn't WAF's decision, it was the personal decision of one guy. So this is something which I used to talk about a lot. People said that, even Don Idris said that, and all of the King of the Table guys, that Tsvetan will be getting his opportunity to compete at King of the Table. And I was, even a couple of years ago, as soon as this event happened, I was saying that nope, King of the Table is not under the grip of WAF yet, but soon it will be. And there is absolutely no way that they will allow Tsvetan to compete at King of the Table despite him having qualified for a match, him deserving a match. So that's exactly what happened. And even as late as early 2024, I guess, I heard Don Idris mention that he will be getting an opportunity, but I was like, bro, come on, at least now you should be able to say openly that nope, goodbye Tsvetan, you won't be getting anything from us. Audio and video are fine. Yes, all good. Video seems fine for now. Thank you, sir. A good arm wrestler should know how to deal injury, research their date online. No more buying pay-per-view for these WVN events. Okay, sick of this BS. Let's get back to our screen sharing, please. So he's not getting any opportunity because of obvious reasons, because WF has a very tight grip over King of the Table as well. And now look at Knuckles Up. Young, ambitious athletes who love the sport and work hard are being struck down by the dictator again. So the dictator here is Arsen, the president of WAF, or at least that's what I'm guessing. Even the women's match was cancelled. What does that have to do with anything? Even the women's match, like cancelling that women's match should hold some we should hold some extra grudge towards the WAF guys for cancelling just because it was a women's match. I did not want to see the women's match anyways. Come on, Tsvetan. I did not like this sentence. Like, you're a man and you're trying to play a women's card? Come on, bro. Swiatkov wasn't allowed to compete with no reasonable explanation from WAF. Worse still, he was given an ultimatum that will also, okay, his team members will also be banned, that stuff which we have already discussed. The problem for WAF isn't IFA, it's personal. Someone wants to stop me from competing with Plamen and Jordan at any cost, even if it means the promoters and the sport itself suffer. Where does this end? Will everyone eventually be banned? It's absurd for an amateur federation to ban a professional event. That's a powerful statement because, okay, let's read this full post. It's time, the world, truth, okay, free, yeah, general stuff. So it's kind of interesting because we have to think that okay, yeah, banning a professional event by an amateur event. So that's kind of hilarious to me, at least, because yeah, professional events should be given kind of maybe more importance, at least for the fans, because that's what they are more inclined to watch anyways. But that's not the case here. The amateur event has control over almost everything. And is that good? Is that bad? I'm not sure. WAF is an important organization and it should be respected in my opinion. But should it be banning everyone? Like the stuff with Denis Siplankov, even if you are seen taking a photo with Denis, then you're going to be banned. To me, that's absolute insanity because at this point, it's not about competition. It's not about fairness. It's not about your principles, values. It's about I don't like you, so I'm going to try to do everything to destroy you. Because other than pure competition, in my opinion, everything should be allowed. And I can also vouch for the contracts or agreements, as in this case, that you cannot compete anywhere else because we hold ourselves to a different regard. We don't want our athletes to be competing anywhere. I'm even okay with that. But to say that you cannot be seen in a photo with someone, it's just personal hatred. It does not have anything to do with the competition. The rule should say that you cannot compete anywhere else without our permission. But other than that, you can do anything you want. We don't care as long as you're not putting your elbow on the table. But that Denis Siplankov thing that I just mentioned, it shows that it's just personal hatred sometimes and nothing else. What's Engin's stance on all of this? We are going to read that screenshot and as well. Don't worry, we'll soon be on that screenshot. And what was the other point that I was trying to mention? Yeah, WAF, as I was saying, is a very important organization, but sometimes they act like they are paying the athletes. Yes, they have created an infrastructure where the athletes can compete, and then if they win, their countries can reward them. It's like if Neeraj Chopra won 2020 Olympics gold, and he got like over $1 million from government, from some gifts and stuff like that. So he basically got $1 million. Now, can the Olympics really claim that? I'm not saying WAF is directly claiming that, but it's kind of going in that direction. Can the Olympics claim that we gave you that $1 million? Because they didn't. WAF does not give anyone any money or any facilities or anything like that. I know there are some guys like Engin Terzi himself who get a salary, but who get a pension, lifetime pension, but that's coming from his country. Turkey is paying that to Engin, not WAF. So WAF does not give anyone even a single dollar. I'm not sure about the staff's fees, the referees' fees, how that thing is working out. But as far as the athletes are concerned, which obviously we're talking about only them here, WAF does not pay anyone anything. So that should always be kept in mind. And I'm going to say one more thing which I'm probably going to say in the video as well, which I'll record after this, talking about Devon Larratt's reaction to this whole thing, because he also gave his opinion. I mean, kind of. He didn't really give his opinion, but he said he's going to give his opinion in that podcast. Anyone who agrees to these things, once again, I will repeat, if you compete at WAF and your country is supporting you, or it is going to support you in the future once you are the world champion, and they ask you to not compete anywhere else, 100% respect that. Do not go anywhere else and compete. But if the organization tells you that if you are seen in a photo with that person or hanging out or talking with that person, then you are banned, and then you stop talking to that person, even though he was your friend, he used to be your friend, or maybe he's still your friend, then you're just a spineless coward, man. Arm wrestling is not important than your self-respect, not more important than your self-respect or your integrity. If any of the athlete agreed, yeah, because I don't want to get banned, because I want my $10,000 yearly bonus from WAF if I win the gold medal there, because I do not want to lose that. So even though Denis Siplenkov is friends with me, I'll tell him, no, bro, I cannot take a photo with you. Then you're just a spineless coward, man. Just leave arm wrestling if you're a man and find another job. It's not worth it. It's not worth selling your soul, no matter how much you love arm wrestling, no matter at what level you are. So that's my take on this. The pullers shouldn't be told they cannot go to certain podcasts either. That's also a clear thing. That's also a great thing. Devon said when the 98 podcast guy, he said, can you talk about this WAF ban stuff? And Devon was like, yeah, I can talk about whatever I want. But then he didn't. He literally showed that he couldn't talk about whatever he want. When was the last time you heard Devon say that, well, since I do not have 100% information on this, since I have like 70% information only, I'm not going to talk about that at all. Devon has literally never said that ever. Can anyone show me? So he said that he can talk about whatever he wants, and then 5 seconds later he proved that he cannot talk about whatever he wants. The podcast things, that's also a great point from Tall Paul Hutchins Jr. Still, even to that, I can agree. If, let's say, if Engin does not like me and he has a contracted athlete, and Engin tells him, don't go on a podcast with Pradeep. And he did not say that, I'm just assuming things here. And if the athlete tells me that, bro, I cannot be there, otherwise he'll ban me, and I want to make a name for myself in a career, we can talk, we can hang out, but we cannot do a podcast. Even that I can understand. But when an elite, I'm not an elite arm wrestler, but when an elite arm wrestler like Denis Siplenkov is involved in the situation, and you cannot hang out with him, then you're a coward, man. Then you're a coward. I like the fact that arm wrestling was a non-political sport. That is no longer the case. It's straight up stupid bull crap. All right. So now let's take a look at Engin's response. Not many people are going to watch this live. Maybe I'm assuming 3,000 people, 2,500 people. That's my assumption. So we'll discuss these points, some of these important points in the video as well. For now, let's take a look at Engin's response. Casper joined WAF. So first point clarified. That's why he's able to compete at King of the Table. So that clarifies one more thing. If you have not joined WAF, you cannot compete at King of the Table. Russians are not globally banned. So the thing that we already discussed, they're competing not under the Russian flag. So kind of a neutral athlete. This should have been allowed in the Bulgarian ban case as well. But I'm not sure if it was. I don't think it was allowed back then. So maybe they didn't get time to think about that because it happened only a couple of months before the actual competition. I think it was the competition where Sandris won WAF for the first time. So basically here Engin is saying that Engin will get mad that you read his post word by word and you're just giving the highlights of mine. So maybe I'll read it. You walked with Asen together for almost 30 years and before he was good and now became a dictator. So Engin did clarify to people that, bro, he's not calling me a dictator, he's calling Asen a dictator. Either he was a dictator before and you closed your eyes for 30 years, or he's not a dictator. Who made you write these things? That was one of my points as well. You know why? Because I don't know how Tsvetan writes, because I've never seen him write, but you can understand that English is clearly not his first language. English is not my first language as well. But if I would have to write stuff, I wouldn't doubt myself, and maybe you guys wouldn't even doubt me. But the way it was written with no grammatical errors or everything was almost perfect. Like, did he really himself write that? Or did he took somebody's assistance? I'm not, once again, I can be completely wrong about that. Maybe the way Tsvetan speaks English and the way he reads and writes English, those two levels are completely different. But the way he wrote it, it was like he definitely needed some help writing that. Let's get back. People who pays you, Engin, I'm not criticizing, I'm not complaining here, but you always use that people who pays. After people, there is always a singular word or whatever you call it. People who pay. Never use S after the word people. Never. Just create this plain simple rule. People who pay you now make you write these things. Who is paying? Who is paying, Tsvetan? I want to know. You come often to East versus West and we welcome you every time, and you come now and look what you're doing. So basically, Engin's like, bro, you used to be a friend. What happened to you? Explain. The things that you say today is the same things that Krasimir said. So Krasi was also saying the same things back in the day. And at that time, since according to Engin, Tsvetan was the best friend of Asen, or Asen was the best friend of Tsvetan, however you want to word it. At that time, he used to hang out with him, so he did not complain. He did not take sides with Krasimir and let the issue die on itself. Now, he is himself in the same situation. By the way, Engin was also in the same situation. He has mentioned that a dozen times. He also wanted to raise his voice kind of against the authority, against Asen on some topics at least. And he did not receive any kind of support from guys like Yordan Sonev, from guys like Swan Gesi, who are complaining about the same or similar issues now. So why should they expect Engin to do anything now? And that, to me, if this is true, what Engin is saying, that makes 100% sure, 100% sense. If I were Engin, I was like, bro, get the hell out of here. You did not give me any support when I needed it on a very similar issue, and now you cannot ask me that. Why would I ruin my East versus West, the most precious, the most important, the most premium organization in arm wrestling that we have ever seen? Why would I risk that just because I want to support you? I mean, to me it makes complete sense. Like, for anyone, I'm asking this question once again. I'll stop sharing this screen. Can anyone explain to me, like, why in this situation Engin should take sides with Tsvetan and Yordan Sonev and invite them to compete at King of the Table or East versus West and risk everything? I simply don't get it. I don't think it should be like that. Give me one reason. Let me read some comments before we go further. If all arm wrestlers stood up together, it would be fixed. But that is something that doesn't happen. So the government here raised the short-term capital gains tax from 15% to 20%. I know in today's world it automatically gets deducted. But let's say it was 30 years ago when everything was not digital, salary was still handed over to you in cash, and this rule was introduced. If all of us, if every single one of us said, nope, we do not accept this tax, there is nothing that the government can do about that. But there will always be, I'll go as far as to say 90% people who will be too much scared to go against the authority. Like, you cannot expect that. All of us that you have mentioned, maybe at best, in the best case scenario, 2% people would have the guts to stand up against things like that. And I think I'm not only being generous, but I'm also being very incorrect by saying 2%. It's like more like 0.2%. 0.2%. That's just the way it is, man. So a new rule is created. Like diesel in major cities in India, diesel cars will be forcefully taken away from you after 10 years. Does that rule make any sense to you? They don't care about pollution. They just care about the extra tax that they are going to get once you're going to for sure buy a new vehicle after your older vehicle has been taken away, has been stolen away from you. So if everyone stood together, no, you cannot take our cars. If let's say 10 million people stood together. What can the police do about that? What can the government do about that? They cannot kill that many people. But no, people do not have that much courage. So it's kind of stupid to expect. I'm not saying you are stupid, but the concept of expecting that much courage from a group of people is kind of stupid. Why would you leave Krasimir alone? Once you had disagreements with us and now you want me to fight with WAF and cut my connection with all the WAF athletes? Just be, yeah, exact point. No sense in that. Till now, I had big respect for you, but some people to sell more pay-per-view by making you write these things is sad. So is he talking about Knuckles Up event? Till now, I had big respect for you. This is why I wrote in the thumbnail of the photo, no longer friends, ? Because of this statement. I had countless discussions with Asen about your situation and tried to make peace. So just for the sake of friendship, Engin has already tried to do that, but it didn't work out. So he did what I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have even bothered to. But yeah, since maybe if it was my good friend, just like it's the case with Engin here, so maybe I would have also tried that. So keep East versus West away from your internal problems and don't write untruthful things. You were the best friend of Hassan for 30 years. So yeah, basically this. Engin, you can definitely make this post short, man. Definitely. Send it to me. I'll cut out the unimportant parts and remove the S after people. You say problem is with WAF and not with IFA. You realize this only after you fought with us, and why did you? So Engin uploaded a similar post about Igor Mezurenko as well. I'm not sure if I have the post just had a photo with Igor. So basically the same stuff, that how IFA split was created. You can read some of the comments from Engin here as well before we start to discuss the chat. Bulgaria is an independent country and a Turkish guy cannot get involved with the legal decisions. So that is also correct. It is also, this whole stuff started as an internal matter within Bulgaria and it kind of spread over in the entire world. That's how it started. Bulgarian law decides. It has nothing to do with law, Engin. Come on, bro. WAF cannot make laws. Certain people are trying to use your situation to harm East versus West. Not that they care about it, but they use it against me. Tsvetan is my longtime friend and we both are 50 years old. Engin is not over 50 years old, but I get the point. Engin is saying I'm old. But you don't say that on Engin's chat or else you will be banned. I want to die being friends with him. We shouldn't involve each other in social media. If I want to say something to each other, we are call from away from each other. I get the point. Good point mentioned by Engin. Every day they create a new drama because of their unsuccess. Unsuccessful is a word, but unsuccess, okay. And trying to receive attention while throwing. So yeah, this comment you can clearly see it's written by Engin without anyone's help. But about Tsvetan's, I was not sure. Okay. If you don't answer, then people thinks, once again, Engin, after people know S. People don't have S's. So yeah, that's an interesting point as well. If you're silent, people are going to think that you are in the wrong. You're the villain, as that initial comment in this live stream said. They try to poison people who don't know the full story. I chose my path eon before East versus West. Choosing this, what's that? WAF over IFA makes 100% sense. I'm not sure if the people are really happy who chose IFA instead of WAF. I'm not really sure if they're getting any benefits out of that. For sure, Drew, they get a small taste. And by the way, Knuckles Up pay-per-view is this weekend. So please go to the High Five website and purchase the pay-per-view to show your support despite all of this drama. And drama is entertaining, man. It's entertaining. We love drama, don't we? So keep that coming, bro. Keep that coming. I don't mind that. But yeah, do purchase the pay-per-view. These things are also important. More important. WAF is after government funds. WAF is a members. AIMS. What's that? Has a partnership with the AIMS, Alliance of Independent Recognized Members of Sports, Alliance of Independent Recognized Members of Sports. What's that, bro? Okay. WAF is after government funds. But still, they won't be giving it away to the athletes, I guess. If the athletes get a prize money, they get a pension, it will be through their government funds, and WAF does not give them anything directly. Power battle between different arm wrestling organizations. As I said, you may not think from the videos I make that I may be in support of somebody banning somebody, but I kind of am. If you hold the power, if you have made your organization so valuable, and every athlete who has competed there and especially won there has become so valuable, so prestigious, that just because after competing your event and winning it, he is now recognized throughout the world as the world champion. Even though there were some guys who were not present at this event because they were banned or something from other organizations, but your organization alone, despite many people missing from it, is so powerful that it can give somebody the title of being the best arm wrestler in the world. In that case, you do kind of hold the power to prevent your athletes from competing somewhere else without any kind of contracts whatsoever. And I'm in support of that. If you are so valuable, they will be coming back to you. But this banning stuff because of the referees, banning people because they cannot be seen in a photo with Denis Siplenkov, people cannot be going on some podcast and stuff. This is just pretty miserable and low level stuff which does not suit an organization as high and as prestigious as WAF. That's kind of, and now they've introduced a new rule which says that any event where a WAF athlete goes to or competes in has to be WAF approved, WAF sanctioned. So now they're just putting it like they have to take a blanket rule over everyone else. That's kind of bad as well. And Will Blazinski from Knuckles Up, he mentioned a very good point. Like, so since every event has to be now WAF approved and it has to comply with WAF standards, and WAF standards do include WADA standards as well, Anti-Doping Association of the World. So why isn't East versus West and King of the Table banned? Because they are also not drug tested events. So WADA won't approve of them. The World Anti-Doping Agency would not like these events, but how are they still approved by WAF? So the rules should be uniform in that sense, and I think that comment makes total sense. And very sad when an event like Knuckles Up must be punished unjustifiably. Sometimes, yeah, I absolutely like Will, and Will knows that I like their event, and I always try to support. However, I was not able to really support the event last time. I was not able to make much videos, but I do like the event. I do like the concept, but sometimes they do act like they didn't see it coming. This is what I don't like. Like, they'll act like it just happened out of nowhere due to unforeseen reasons. Like, bro, why are you, if you are that much affected by it, why are you trying to be politically correct here? Due to unforeseen reasons, this match cannot be happening. Bro, those reasons were not unforeseen. You saw them from 1,000 miles away or 4,000 miles away, whatever the distance between Turkey or Bulgaria and USA is. AIMS has a partnership with IOC, International Olympic Committee, Alliance of Independent Recognized Members. Okay, thank you, Mr. Peanut. Is it wrong to assume that this is more like Power Battle? No, it's not wrong. I agree, it is silly to expect courage in a world full of cowards. And I'm going to tell you one more thing which most of you already know. Even if I'm not a coward, I'm taking myself as an example so the chat doesn't feel bad. Even if me as an individual is not a coward, but once you put a bunch of people in a group, like unless there is total chaos, like people talk about like lootings in USA or some other country. There was a store opened in Pakistan, and few guys jumped into that store in the on inauguration day, and they started looting it. Then everybody gets the courage to do that. But if even if a couple of guys start showing fear in a group of thousands of people, almost every single person is going to act like that. So even if I'm not a coward individually, still I'm going to most likely act that way if the group as a whole is acting that way. That's why from a group you can never expect courage unless it is about like a really bad thing, a breaking a law. Like most of the times in school you would see I wouldn't have the courage to beat somebody up, but if there are a group of 15, there's a group of 15 people beating some boy up, we would jump into that fight without even knowing what's the case here, who is the guy who is getting beat up. We would just try to throw our hands. So in these illegal cases, sometimes not always, the crowd can be courageous, but most of the times because that group of 15 people, that crowd was already showing some courage. I'm not saying that that's kind of courageous to beat up a single guy if you're in a group of 15, but they're not showing fear. That's how I should have worded it. So we would also do the same, but we almost always act only like the group. I like the drama of who wins, Ursula or Ayane not banning people drama. From me as an IFA European champion, I would not like to support WAF, but I feel like downside I have with IFA now are worse than I could have with WAF. Ryan Bowen's wrist. Are we ignoring the fact that Asen kept stealing money from Tsvetan and leasing, and that's why they decided to jung only? I'm not talking about this because I don't know the details of that. I know they got the Bulgarian news involved, they got police involved in that case, they've done a whole TV documentary and stuff, but at that time I was not smart enough to understand the whole situation, and I haven't seen it now. Pradeep for WAF President 2025. I should be. I sometimes feel like I should be in some authoritative position. Like I can show people how stuff works. Yeah, tell that to WAF. Did it out of spite, I meant. Knuckles Up got the ref they wanted and other things, and still it wasn't enough. That tells you, yeah, even like if the referee is from IFA, I do not agree with that rule as well. You cannot compete there. Why? A real man does the thing even if everyone else does not. Yeah, but how many real men according to your definition are there? That means you're a coward too, Pradeep. The group doesn't justify it. I'm just talking about how stuff happens. That's just what I'm saying. It's like saying, if I'm saying that if you take a random group of 1,000 people moving on, going about their stuff on the streets, and if I say out of those 1,000 you can pick anyone you want, and there's at least a 99.9% chance that person cannot run 100 meters under 12 seconds. And then you'll say, no, Pradeep, if you think like people are so slow they cannot run 12 seconds, you're just a slow person. Yeah, maybe I am, but that's not why they cannot run under 12 seconds. Yes, it happens, and it's wrong. It kind of matters why they got banned, because the ban is for pretty evil reasons. So that's all I wanted to discuss. I'll talk about Devin Larrett's response to this whole situation in the next video, so please tune in for that as well. I'll just read 2 more comments and then I'll end it before 40 minutes. WAF has changed the rules and leadership cannot be voted out. They pay themselves dollars and attend conferences, vacations on WAF dollars. Yeah, the staff, that's something that I know as well. The staff is getting the money from WAF directly without any government being involved, but the athletes are not. Let's be real, WAF does not care about the referees. They just don't want people to earn money on their athletes. Local competitions without money have both EFI and WAF referees and WAF athletes. So I think all of us are on kind of same page here. That's what I'm getting from this. Thanks for watching. Like the video, the live stream, and subscribe for further video updates. Thank you guys.